Hey there, it's Grace. Welcome back. Welcome if you are new. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So, y'all, I know, I've been teasing about this for a bit now, and I'm ready to fully reveal what I've been working on. Pips, anyone? So, some of the backstory. At the particular time that I came up with these sheets, I'd been on this pen journey for about 8-ish months, not on YouTube though for that amount of time yet. And I realized that for me, over the course of testing and writing with the new pen, something was missing. More data was missing. And at first I couldn't put my finger on exactly what that was. Now, I have a currently ink notebook I keep for swatching the pens I ink up in any month. And I love it as a first catchment place for my pens and the inks I put in them. And I'm sure you've seen some of those videos. I actually put a playlist together of those videos that I'll link in the description. I love creating them because it gets me even more excited about the pairings I actually choose in a month. But your girl wanted something more. Still, I had no clue what it was though. And part of the query into what inks and pens I use was the thought that I wanted to see over time the inks I put in a specific pen, not just those listed in my notebook each month, or where I had to constantly refer back to, even at times trying to line up the ink swatches, the ink samples, so I can kind of get a comparison of the two inks in that one pen. I wasn't cutting it anymore. So I started to think of a way I could keep physical track of a single pen and all the inks I used in it, discarding everything else. I didn't want to know anything else except the ink and the pen. I had already created a fountain pen companion page, which I know I need to update because that's anyway. And I have a couple of other swatch books going, like my swatch art page. That thing is so cool, but it too needs updating. Yeah. The colorist in me loves doing them. My plan for this year is to create more of those art swatch pages on camera. You know, I'm liking it to the, you know, those study with me videos where they're working all the time. They're working for a certain amount of time and they have lo-fi music playing in the background. That's what I mean. Something like that, I think. Other things I thought about as this idea began to formulate in my mind is I also wanted something pleasing to hold and to look through. And this hails from my my bookbinding days where I made notebooks and journals and albums that were for practical use, but they had to be beautiful item as well. So that when you look at it on a shelf, when you look at all your journals on a shelf, it kind of entices you to reach for it. Now, you might have seen a previous unboxing I did where I showcased a new passport size leather journal I bought just for this reason. But after using it for a bit, I realized that the pages were just a smidge too small. I really wanted to not only have a writing sample of the ink and a swatch of the color in the pen, but I wanted a place to take brief notes as well. Because I still do my end of the month ink report. These sheets are an additional way to process the pen and ink pairings I do. So I decided to go with an A5 size. Now I didn't want to use a letter size binder, and I found a simple yet classy one that I will look forward to seeing on myself, like a set of them on my shelf. The reason I needed to be specific about using a binder rather than a notebook is that it would allow me to easily put in additional pages for new pen purchases, because you know that's definitely not going to stop. Whoa! And that's when I found the Kleid Fleek binder. Now it's not large in size, and I thought it would be a great journal to keep track of my pairings in for kind of like a year or more. The spaces on each sheet, I'll show you in a minute. Just like all the previous journals I have lined up on my shelf, I'll be able to pull out a Pips journal binder to view a particular pen's history or a particular pen's journey in inks. And because I can do it at will, I've also printed off a photo of the pen that I add in as well. Now, you might have guessed by now that I have this thing with organization. How'd you guess that? I love when there's a place for everything and everything is in its place. Now, I gotta tell you, because my husband is not he likes organization, but not as much as me. So it's not a contention point, but put the things where they need to be. Anyway, that's beside the point. So that's what this binder provides. I wanted to be able to document a single pen's journey with inks so I could have a record, a live catalog to look back on and see each pairing through the lens of that one single pen. Plus, when I look back on these sheets, I get to remember, I get to recall the fun and the interesting and the weird and the, pen moments I get to experience. Okay, so let's get to filling out a new pip sheet so you'll see what I mean. And yeah, let's go. Let's go to the overhead. So this is the Wanderings passport size journal I was originally going to go with. I love that it is leather. This leather is just and it's a really thick leather too. Really, really pretty. I love that it's leather. I loved its compactness. Really nice and small. Won't take up room. I love the idea of everything being held in here because it has the ring binder on it. But the one thing, I think the drawback that really had me looking for something else was its size. It was just a bit too small. And I started with just writing the ink, but I knew that I wanted to take notes. And I couldn't, there's not enough space here. And you see, I've done all of these. There's not enough space here to start taking notes. So I scrapped this idea and I will use this journal for something else. I still love this journal. I think it's a wonderful, beautiful, a beautiful leather covering. Alrighty, so I started looking for something else and I decided to go in the A5 size instead of, I didn't want to go letter size, which letter is 8.5 by 11 here in the States. So I didn't want to go letter size. That just seemed a bit too big for me. So the halfway point between this Wanderings and the Kleid, this is the one I got and I ended up using. This is called the Kleid Fleek binder, and it comes in a couple of colors, maybe 3 more colors, and I love this one. I wish you could just rub your hand over this, the cover. It's so very nice. It's almost suede-like, but it isn't. But I decided this actually came with paper that I wasn't familiar with. It came with something called Yamamoto Oke Fool's Grid paper, which apparently is a high-end Japanese writing paper, and it was grid, and I didn't want a grid paper, but I knew I was getting only a few sheets of those, so it didn't matter to me. And that paper was 81 GSM, which would work for inks, but I didn't want the paper. I decided instead to use blank Irreful paper. These are loose A5 sheets, and they're nothing on them, no grid or anything on them. And it worked so much better. I'll give you the reason why I wanted to do a binder instead of just putting it in my notebook, because I could have done that, or have a notebook specifically just for the pen and ink pairings. But every single time I went to do it, say after I did it in here, I started designing blocks so I can write notes. And I thought that's the same reason why me and bullet journaling never got along. Because I would always have to design the page before I use it, and I'm a person who I want to get right to it. And so I decided to design a paper with blocks for a swatch of the ink and place for writing notes. And I did. I designed it, and it is gorgeous. I love it. I'll tell you about that later. So this is what I designed. I messed up a lot, but that's okay because this is what came out. US printers need to be calibrated to print A5 sheets, and that's why I had to get this correct on the sheet, and now I do, and I'm absolutely loving using these sheets. All the mess ups were on copy paper, thankfully, and not my Aerofil paper. So as you can see, each page, each sheet is dedicated to one single pen. And you include the pen name. I even include a little space of when and where you can purchase, when and where you purchase the pen. So you have that information as well. At the end of the month, for my ink report, and this is how I do it now, I write with the pen in one of these blocks to record the pairing, the ink that I put in that single pen. And it's one of the things. Let me bring in one of the sheets. So this is my pip sheet for Visconti Apollo. I purchased it in August, but I didn't start using these sheets until September. There you go, September. Or this particular sheet for the Visconti when I inked it up. So I had two sets of, two inks I've inked it up in so far. And I get to write, there's a space for a swatch, so you can see the swatch color. And there's a space to write the actual ink. And then just a little bit of information about the ink, the pairing, and will this pairing work again? What about this pairing worked? For Ancient Copper, I wrote Match Made in Heaven. It's a lovely writer, good flow. The ink and the pen complement each other. So I know that if I have an ink like Ancient Copper, it'll work well in Visconti, which is the whole purpose of this whole sheet. Plus, I do like to see the actual color going on there. So there. And the cool thing about this, as any new pen I get, I have a space. I've created the space for it. So this one will go here under the Visconti tab, and I created a tab for each of the pen brands that I have so far. So I created a tab for each one of these, which is, I love seeing the tabs. I love seeing, like TWSBI has, I think, 4 sheets in it because I have 4 TWSBIs in my collection. So the pip sheets allows me to actually see what the pairing will look like over a stretch of time, which is I think it's the brilliant part of this. The pages I print, you may have noticed, the pages I print are not pre-punched, but I did leave enough space at the side here to punch whatever rings, whatever paper whatever ring binder you decide to use. You can always punch the edges, so there's enough space for that. There's enough space for 6 on the front. Each sheet has 6 on the front, and then there's another 6 spaces on the back. So this basically, if you use a pen in a year, every month for a year, with different inks, you get to see a year's worth of pen and ink pairings for a particular pen, which is, I absolutely love this. I'm a creator at heart. I'm totally excited at the fact that I could create what I needed. And these sheets are a really good addition to help me discern and distinguish between a pen and the inks I put in it. Now these sheets are right now available. You'll see when you go to my Ko-fi shop. They're available in my Ko-fi shop, I should say that. I have actually done a second one, and this is what those 2 notes are about. I've actually done a second one because one of the things that I wanted to do, so they're both the same on the front, but one of the things I wanted to do was put a picture of the pen so I could actually see the pen. And on the second sheet, there's a space for a photograph. So print a photograph. The first sheet, this is the original, does not have a space. It has 12 spaces. This one with this ink, with this photograph, has 10 spaces, 4 on the back, and then, like the original, 6 on the front. So that is the pen pairings sheet. I love the fact that I get to see all the pairings of all the pens in my collection. And, you know, it's just one of the ones that I love is this one. My Hung Dian N23. For some reason, I put 2 really bright colors in it, and I cannot wait to see the rest of this page. I've decided I'm going to just use bright colors in the pen because I want to see the page filled with bright colors. So maybe there's a red, there's an orange. I'm gonna do a rainbow thing here. So that's it. That's the Pips sheets, pen and ink pairings sheets. One has space for 12 pairings, front and back, and the other design has space for 10 pairings and a photograph. Plus there's also pen and nib notes, certain nibs that maybe you changed a nib and you want to write some information about the new nib. You have some place to put both styles have a place for pen and ink notes. As I said, these are now in my Ko-fi shop. I'll put the link in the description. You can go there and purchase. I'm limiting the supply right now to 2. The sheets come in sets of 10, so you'll get 10 sheets per purchase. And even the limit of 2, you get 20 sheets, and that's enough. Most people, that's enough to start off. And then we'll go from there. You can always reach, if you have any questions about anything I've shared here today, let me know. You can always private message me on my Ko-fi page. The link is always in the description. Go follow me there and be in the know about what's coming up. I am very pleased with this new way to record monthly pairings, and I hope you will be too. I'm stoked about this. The creator in me is very happy right now. I've been using them for 3 months, 2.5-ish months, and it has been a game changer for me to understand the inks that go in a pen and why they worked or why they didn't work. And that's what the pen and ink pairings, the pip sheets, are all about. That's it. Thank you for watching this video. Any comments, questions, please leave it in the comments section. And don't forget, if this is your first video, please go ahead and subscribe. And you know, whilst you're at it, like this video. All right, take care, y'all.